Hey friends, Candace here. It is time for our live Q&A and it is Wednesday. We're doing this a couple days late, but that's okay. Better late than never, right? So I'm gonna find me in my photography group, and I'm gonna share it to the mentoring group. I say this every time, but if you're not part of the Candace Adele mentoring group, then you can pop into that group where you can ask all kinds of questions, fellowship with other people that are along the same journey as you. So whether you're in the photography business, wedding business, or you just want general business advice, it's a great group to be a part of. I'm going to share this in the group right now, and then we're going to get into our Q&A. So we had some really great questions that were posted yesterday. So, and they may take up the whole time. I'm not really sure. But if you have questions as we're going through this live, you can post them in the comments section. I can see everybody's comments, and I will do my best to answer those. And I'm going to do this really quick. I wish there was an easier way. Facebook, you need to come up with an easier way to broadcast in more than one place at one time. So, okay, sharing now. Boom, there we are. Awesome. So today we're going to chat about actually like some pretty serious topics, I feel like. One is work-life balance, and then the other one is around pricing, which I think are two of like the toughest things that we deal with as business owners, especially if you're in the wedding business, or even if you just own your own business. The work-life balance thing is like, I think it's an ongoing struggle with a lot of people, especially with moms, because we carry a lot of mom guilt. So we're going to talk about that today. The first thing that we're going to talk about is, and I'm pulling up the question now, but it was a question about pricing. So the question that was asked was there ever a time you raised your prices, then lowered them back down because the inquiries were not coming in? I will say that there definitely have been times in my business that I have raised my prices because I was consistently booking at a particular cost, a particular price, and the demand was really high. So then I knew that it was time to raise my prices. And I think that anytime that we raise our prices, there's fear that sets in, like, oh my gosh, like, did I do the right thing? Like, did I just kill my business because I raised my prices? Nobody's ever going to book me again because my prices went up, $200, $300, whatever the case may be. I don't know, like, how far of a jump this particular person, like, how far of a jump the pricing went. But there's always that fear that, oh my gosh, if I raise my prices, then I may never book business ever again. I think that you have to be, number one, comfortable with the pricing that you are presenting to your clients. You have to present it with confidence. You have to be able to justify those prices. And there is always going to be that freak out moment when you raise them and there's crickets. So I think that's happened to a lot of us that have raised our prices. I know that that certainly has happened to me, and I don't think that it was, necessarily because of this incremental price increase was pushing people away, or that they were scared of my new pricing. I think it was just the timing of when my pricing changed just happened to coincide with, like, a slower season for booking. So you have to like really think about, okay, like, when am I typically making these pricing changes? And am I making those changes around a time when, hey, Haley, am I making those changes in a slower booking time? Because typically, at least for me in my business, when I've made the choice to raise my prices, it's typically around the time that I actually have a moment to wrap my mind around that. And that's usually in my slower time. And that's when I take a look at my business, see how things are going, see how much I was booking, see how busy I've gotten, and, looking at, do I want to scale back on the number of weddings that I'm taking? And in order to do that, I have to raise my prices. I need to kind of decrease the demand a little bit with a price increase. And then that always seems to coincide with just a slower booking time. So I to answer your question, this was a very long explanation to a very direct question. I have not ever lowered my prices because I wasn't booking anything. I made sure that I felt comfortable with the prices that I was charging, that I felt justified in what I was charging, not just based on some willy-nilly feeling that I had, but also based on other people in the market who had comparable work, and because of the experience that I could give my clients. And when you set your prices at a certain rate, you have to be able to clearly communicate to your clients why you're worth that. What makes you different than A, B, or C photographer that is maybe charging less, but your work does have to match the price. So, if you don't feel like your work matches whatever it is that you're charging, then maybe you should go back in price. I would say if you go 6 months without booking anything, then maybe you definitely need to think about what your pricing is. But if you just raised your prices and you're like having a freak out moment because you're not getting quite the inquiries that you thought that you should, then I don't think that that's a reason. I don't think that's a reason to go back in your pricing, to backtrack at all. So I would say, no, I'm not. I've stuck to my guns because I knew that what I was charging was fair and that I was worth it, and I was going to be able to give my clients the experience that they needed. And there were definitely times in my business where I didn't necessarily lower my prices, but I would give someone a discount, and it just was not necessarily the best situation each time that I did that. So I would highly recommend not doing that. And honestly, I don't do it anymore because it's not fair to my couples that booked me at the current rate. Unless it's something crazy like a Wednesday wedding in January when like nothing is happening and it's, they need me for 5 hours and I'm not going to be doing anything anyway. That's a completely different situation. But if you are, peak season, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and, they want you for, full wedding day, and it's a package that you have already offered to your other couples that have paid you full price, it's not, I feel in my heart, it's not fair to my couples that have paid me my full rate. Because just thinking of it from like a client perspective, if that was me and I had just booked somebody at the full price and then come to find out, like, a month down the road, somebody else book them at a comparable time and got a huge discount, then I would probably not be very happy about that. So just think about that too. If you've booked anybody at these new rates, but maybe you're not booking as fast, like you need to definitely stick with it. If you have these new rates and it's been a short period of time and bookings are slow, I mean, it's not typically super, super fast this time of year. It just really kind of depends. It ebbs and flows. Like you just never know. I would say you just need to stick it out a little bit longer. That's just my personal opinion. Unless you did like a $2,000 price jump, then maybe you need to think about bringing the prices down. But if it's just an incremental increase, it's just par for the course. Like that's just what you do in this business because our expenses increase, your experience increases, and you're worth more. So hopefully that answered your question. Like I mentioned before, anybody that popped on, if you have questions as we're going through this Q&A, feel free to post them in the comment section. I'm happy to answer anything as we go. We did have a couple of questions that were asked prior to our Q&A today. So the next question, which is going to be a very, very loaded answer, was surrounding work-life balance. So this looks different for everybody, but I'm just going to tell you personally what has worked for me in particular. Because I'll be honest, I am one of the busiest people that I know, and I'm not like boasting about that. It's just a fact. So when I actually started in this photography business, I was working full time in the corporate world. I had three children at the time. I now have 4. I was also in school part-time, finishing my degree that I had started years prior but never finished because I felt like I needed to. It was a self-fulfillment thing. And then also doing photography on the side. If you guys hear snorts and stuff, that's my that's my pug, and he's being really loud. Anyway, I'll get back on track. So the work-life balance was really tough for me in the beginning because my kids were little, like little. I started in photography, like just photographing them when they were just babies. And then the business started to take off. So I'm telling you, like, I had absolutely no free time. I feel like I missed out on a lot with them because every weekend I was photographing families, or I was second shooting weddings, or, it got to the point where I was photographing my own weddings. And then, during the week, I was working a 9-to-5 job. And then when I was done with my job, I was doing schoolwork to get through college, or, editing photos and doing all that stuff until the wee hours. So it was really hard. So I did get to a point where, I had my son. I was now at 4 children, trying to do all of this, still hadn't gotten my degree yet. And, working full time and doing photography, and it had really ramped up. So I had to take the leap and I ended up quitting my full-time job and decided to do photography full-time. And then had to be very strategic about my work-life balance from that point forward, because even though I had more time to focus on my business, I still was kind of scattered. So over the years, the process that I have come up with that works the best for me for keeping work-life balance is making sure that I'm very strategic about what I need to get accomplished every single day. So, I will plan out my day. I will plan out how long I'm going to work, whether it be from, 8 to 4 to 5 to 6, doesn't matter. Like, I have my block of time that I'm going to get my work done. I write out whatever it is that I need to get done for that day, my to-do list of things, and then I check them off as I go. If I can get everything done before my scheduled stop time, awesome. Then I get it done and I can go do other things. I'll be honest, that doesn't typically happen. It's very rare. If I can't get everything done by the time that I've scheduled to stop, then I'm going to stop and I'm going to move those things to the next day. But I have to make sure that I have time with my family. In the past, my work-life balance looked like I worked all day and all night. And this is going to sound horrible, but this was the fact, I would fit my family in to my work schedule. And that is not a way to live your life. So, family is the most important, and the most valuable thing that you own is your time. That is the most valuable asset that you will ever have. It is absolutely priceless. And your family deserves that time with you. So you need to every day make sure that your day is planned out. This is what I'm going to try to get accomplished today. I'm going to do my very best, and I'm stopping at this time. And from 5 o'clock until whatever time, that is family time. I'm cooking dinner. We're watching a favorite show together. We're doing whatever it is that we do together as a family. And that is uninterrupted time where my phone is put away, my computer is put away. And also make sure that you're scheduling in vacations with your family. Even if you don't have the money to go on vacation, you're scheduling a vacation if you're staying at home. It doesn't matter. That, for my family, has been a non-negotiable. Every single year, we make sure that we have a week of vacation with our children where we unplug, and it is our time as a family to be together and to reconnect, because work will take over your life. So there is a tool that I use to keep myself organized, and I'll be honest, it is typically a consistent thing for me, and when it's not consistent, then I really feel like I'm a mess. But I have it right here, so let me grab it. Hold on. So it's this priority planner. It's the Rachel Hollis Girl, It's Your Year. I think I've talked about this before. I think I might have talked about it right around the new year. And in here, you plan out your days. And you write down on a daily basis, you put the date, you write down all the stuff that you need to get done, 3 things that you're grateful for, when you get up in the morning, and then you like write down what you need to get done and when you're going to do it, and the 3 most important things that you need to get done for that day. Because I'll be honest, like I have high expectations of myself, and I'll put a ton of stuff on my to-do list and it doesn't get done. So not all of it, at least. So work-life balance, like I said, it's going to look different for everybody. Wake up early in the morning, make sure that your day is scheduled out, and make sure that you have a stop time and that you are being very intentional about making sure that you have time with your family. And guys, this is going to sound awful. And I don't know how to say this in a way that's like not like a morbid way to say it, but like tomorrow is not guaranteed. Do not make work the number 1 priority all the time, because your family deserves time spent with you and vice versa. And you don't want to, honestly, like if you're on your deathbed, do you think that you're going to say, I really wish that I had worked more hours? No, you're going to say, I really wish that I had spent more time with my family. So there's definitely a way to move your business forward in the right direction and also have that family time and not feel like you're lacking in either way. It's all about being organized, having a to-do list, scheduling it out, and then giving yourself some grace when things pop up and you can't get it all done. So that's my best advice. It's the thing that I've learned over the years, and I've had to learn the hard way, unfortunately. So Whitney asks, have you ever had a client not like a gallery? And if so, how did you handle it? I've never had anybody necessarily dislike their entire gallery. But if, let me back up. I'm going to tell you how I would handle this if this had happened, and I'm going to tell you things that I have had. I never had anybody come to me and say, hey, like that entire gallery, I really disliked it. I did not like anything that was in there, and that was just horrible. And I think for me, the reason that I don't get that from people is I make sure that my work is very consistent, first of all, but also like I make sure that expectations are set up front. I have conversations with my clients before they even book me, regardless of whether it's a portrait session or a wedding. And I get a good, a good understanding of what it is that they want and what they need for their session or their wedding. If there are things that they're saying to me that I know that I'm not going to be able to deliver, then we have that conversation ahead of time. Like if they're really into, I don't know, doing lots of like Pinterest pictures with like tons of props and, you know, certain things like that, then it might not be the best fit between the two of us. They need to find somebody else that, you know, is more into that. If they're looking for like more romantic type photos and they love like interacting with each other and like mixing that with some pose shots, and that's going to be my ideal client. And then they're obviously going to see like galleries of my work so they can see my editing style. So that is how I try to screen that ahead of time so I don't end up having that issue later on. But that's not to say that I haven't had clients come to me and say, hey, can we do more of this next time? Like for weddings, like if we have an engagement session, can we do more of this? Or, hey, this pose we really didn't like. And then I make sure to adjust it. I'm trying to think back if I ever had a family session that they really didn't like the images. There definitely have been times, particularly for maybe engagement sessions, when like couples are getting comfortable in front of the camera, or maybe they're like a certain pose that they didn't particularly like. So we just made sure we didn't do that on wedding day. I would say though, if I've set clear expectations up front for a client and they really hated their pictures, let's say for a portrait session, they really, really did not like what I produced, and they were able to give me valid reasons why, I would probably offer a reshoot. I wouldn't offer a refund, particularly if I have sent them anything electronically that they could view or download. I would not offer a refund, because not only do they have access to the images, maybe they haven't downloaded them, but they have access to the images. There are ways that people can, you know, take copies of that and save it and keep it. Not to say that everybody's dishonest, but it does happen from time to time, unfortunately. I would not offer a refund. I would offer a reshoot, and I would take into consideration whatever their concerns were, and then go shoot another session. And whatever it is that they disliked about that particular session, try not to do that with the next one, or do things a little bit differently, as long as it's not totally deviating from your style as a photographer. If you are a bright and airy photographer and you have photographed these images and delivered them and they are bright and airy, and then they come back to you and say, oh, well, you know, I want them to be dark and moody. Well, that's not what I do. You saw my work ahead of time. That's not something that I can offer. So it really just kind of depends on the situation. If they don't like posing or something like that, then I would say, yeah, I would just offer a reshoot, but I would not offer a refund. If it was a wedding client and they felt that, I've not had this happen, but knock on wood, hope it never happens. But if it did, and they felt very strongly that they did not like their engagement session photos, they didn't like the way they were posed, they didn't like the way they were edited, and then they had lots of things that they really didn't like, then I think the conversation would need to be had about whether you would want to continue working together. Not because the client's necessarily being difficult, but because engagement session is a really great test run to see if this is going to work. So if a client's not liking what you've produced for them, and it completely would deviate from your style otherwise, then that's a conversation that you would need to have, whether you need to continue moving forward, because the last thing that you want to do is to step into wedding day, photograph that couple the exact same way that you always would, and then they're not happy with their wedding images. Those can't be redone. So that's how I would handle both of those situations. And Whitney, if you're still on, did you have a particular example that you had in mind that maybe I didn't just cover with that very long explanation? I feel like I'm very wordy today, guys. I feel like I'm just talking, but hopefully this is helpful for you. These two particular topics I could probably talk on for days and days and days. Okay, so I don't know if Whitney's still on. So I don't have any other comments. I don't have any other questions that I can see. I'm going to give it another second in case anybody else wants to pop in and ask a question. And while I'm waiting, we will have another Facebook Live at the scheduled time, Thursday, 4 o'clock. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about some mindset things around your business and your life. So actually, being very careful about the words that you say. So guys, this is probably one of the most important lives that I've ever done and will ever do. Because I know, especially in the wedding business, we think that success is wrapped all around our clients and our work, but actually your success is more wrapped around the words that come out of your mouth. So, and I'm going to explain exactly what I mean tomorrow. And I'm going to give you some really practical tips to create great success in your business just by the words that you speak. So if nobody else has any more questions, I will see you guys on Thursday at 4. And if you are on the main photography page and you're not in the mentoring group, then I will post a link as soon as we're done here, and make sure that you pop in so you can engage with other people in the group that are on the same journey with you. So anyway, guys, well, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow at 4, where we're going to talk about how to grow your business and have the life that you love just by the words coming out of your mouth. So, all right, guys, enjoy your day. Talk to you soon. Bye.